Well, we appreciate you and all the other cannabis warriors out there who are doing the work of legalizing this in an equitable way. It's making sure that there is a social equity component and who are showing us all the potential of entrepreneurship in this arena. And I'm told you have some news. There's been some shit. Last time you were here, there were some precarious things happening. We were rooting for you to make sure that everything was going to work out. But I'm told that there is some updates in your particular situation. Talk to us about the latest news you have to share as it pertains to your forays into the cannabis industry.
Absolutely. I mean, as you know, it's been a really, really long road. I was licensed in July of 2023. So it's really serendipitous that I was actually awarded my license on Valentine's Day. And just a few months before
Of
my
this
license,
year.
yeah, this year, literally 2 weeks ago.
Wow. So you got the
And
approval in July in 2023, but you didn't
yeah.
get the formal license until Valentine's Day of this year.
The final license. So we go
Wow.
through a couple of stages. They give you a conditional license, essentially, was what I received
Mm,
in July of 2023. And your final license after you show that you have the location and essentially the funds to get up and running, which is a
mm.
lot, which is a huge deterrent for most entrepreneurs, is that capital, which is something that we spoke about, when I was on your show previously. And that essentially was a deterrent for us as well. We went through several investors and things just didn't work out. So we're entirely self-funded right now,
Wow.
completely woman owned, Black owned, Haitian owned, this first dispensary in the state of New York. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Round of applause, air horns, pew pew pew,
Thank
pew
you
pew
so
pew
much.
pew. Oh my gosh. What a road you have traveled. So talk to
Truly.
us about what some of the since we've last had you on, give us a sense
Yeah.
as to some of the hurdles you've had to navigate. You said you're fully self-funded. I would
Hmm.
imagine that, and unfortunately, a lot of black businesses end up
Yeah.
being, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because even though we don't want it to be that way, sometimes I think there's a
Hmm.
power there. But a lot of us
Absolutely.
end up having to be fully self-funded. Give us a sense as to the challenges that presented for you.
Yeah, I mean, more so than anything, it was I want to just talk about one thing you just said, the power of being self-funded. It was just the power of perseverance. Sometimes we are tested to see what we're actually capable of, and that is what I saw in these
Yes.
last 2 years. It was really my own capability and me showing, the value of being who I say that I am. But I mean, in terms of uh, hurdles. I mean, for one, the state just was continuously sued. From the time that I had joined you on your show, we were already at maybe lawsuit number 4 or 5.
Mm,
Um, Right now, we're probably on lawsuit
right.
number 11, for the state, not for myself. And what happens with these lawsuits, there are judges who find precedents in some of these lawsuits, and so injunctions ensue. What happens when there's an injunction is that the state is no longer allowed to award final licensure. So we've been essentially done renovations since November.
Mm,
I wanted to do a soft opening during Thanksgiving. We were unable to because there was an injunction that happened at the end of November. And so
wow.
we've been waiting patiently for the past 2 months. And finally, on Valentine's Day, we were awarded that license. But that was a huge hurdle because one, you have to continue paying, your lease amount
Right.
for your location.
And
There's
that's a commercial
product.
lease. That's not the lease
Exactly.
for your
That's commercial
apartment.
lease.
That's
So
the
we
commercial
know
rent.
that's not, that's some
Right.
honestly, my lease is about 4 times my house mortgage, and this is something that I don't own. It's a lease, as you know, so it's definitely humbling to say the least,
Mm,
you know.
mm.
But nonetheless, like we are here and we made it by the grace of God and my ancestors. They want me to sell this dope, and that's what I am going to do. Okay.
Do not sell the dope.
In the
Now
hood,
I'm
they
gonna
call
get a
me a
whole bunch of
doctor, so that's what I
I'm
will
gonna
be.
listen, I'm gonna get a whole bunch of people. I know you like talking about Satan's spinach and the devil's lettuce, but the dope,
Baby,
that's a
God put
bridge
this
too far.
plant on earth.
Listen,
God put this
come
plant on
on.
earth. The devil
And
can't
said it
grow
was good.
nothing. Can't
Mm.
sow any seeds. Okay?
Ooh, wait a minute,
Can't
wait a minute,
sow
wait a minute.
any
Jessica
seeds.
Naissant. Say that again. Say that again. I need to hear
I
that one
said
more
the
time.
devil cannot grow a thing. All right. This is
Come
God's
on.
plant. The devil cannot sow any seeds. The devil cannot sow any
Mm.
seeds. And so I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, not only to be licensed by the state, but to just have the right mind to really get things going and to take it to its completion, which is truly only the starting point.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, this is phenomenal. I'm so proud. I mean, I know you, but I don't know you, but I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you. I'm like, yes, I'm
Thank
rooting
you
for
so
you, and this
much.
is
I truly
phenomenal.
appreciate that. I
Yeah, so
really
talk to
do.
us about the now. So you're open now.
We are
You have the
open.
license.
We have the license,
Wow.
we're opened, and we've gone through, a slight name change. So, we are Renaissant NYC, and
Mm.
hold on. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Oh
We
no, I
are
hear you. You said
Renaissant
Renaissance NYC.
Renaissant
We heard you.
NYC. And it's a little bit of a play on words. Obviously, my last name is Jessica Naissant. So instead of Renaissance, we did Renaissant using my last name, NYC. And my last name Naissant means a rebirth. And
Mm.
it's really indicative of that Renaissance era when, Malcolm X was chilling in Harlem and really just, even selling weed on the side before he became enlightened, and that's how he was essentially introduced into Islam. He was
Okay.
arrested for cannabis and other charges.
Wow.
But our dispensary is indicative of that as well. We have some old school chandeliers, a beautiful green bluish color, bright popping furniture as well. And so we really just wanted to highlight that era of Black excellence, that 1920s. I feel like we are in another series of the Roaring Twenties, and so
Mm.
that's kind of why I really went with that theme, and I was just like, this is a rebirth for cannabis, for myself, for my family, for the opportunity to make wealth in an unconventional way.
Wow, this is phenomenal and a true testament, I think, to what can happen when you stick with it, when you keep going. And
Yeah.
we reframed having to be self-owned as a power move. And
Yeah.
I know that a lot of us would rather get the funding, we'd rather get the support, and we ain't mad at it. The
It's
nice,
comfortable.
yeah, yeah, I ain't
It's
mad at no
comfortable.
funding.
It's nice.
Fearless Fund, keep funding. I heard that
Yeah.
they have been successfully relaunching programs for their work. So we like a good angel investor.
That's
We ain't mad
amazing.
at
We
it.
sure do.
But if you don't have it, talk to us about that understanding of what it means to be self-owned for you. Why is it something that matters enough to you that we point that out?
It matters to me because I think not that I think, I know that it shows that I have put everything on the line.
Mm.
I'm privileged in the sense that my family and I have put money aside for, me to go to college for, which I've done. I have a bachelor's in biochemistry, but
That's
they
right.
wanted me to go on to medical school, which is something that I did consider, but as you know, my cannabis arrest was a deterrent for most medical schools to allow me into their
Right.
programs. And so we had to pivot, right?
Mm.
There's not many opportunities for people without licenses to, I'm sorry, without degrees to really make something of themselves. And I come from a Caribbean culture and Caribbean family who believe that as well. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? A lot
Yeah.
of these tech companies are run by college dropouts essentially.
Right.
But I was lucky enough that my parents let me pivot and use my college fund or my medical school fund to now fund our cannabis business.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really speaks to, I think, and obviously nobody wants you to have a cannabis arrest, but if you got
Yeah.
one, way to flip it around and turn it around.
Hello.
And I think this is a real example of sort of what we're facing as a community right now. There's going to be
Yeah.
a lot more of us for what degree having or not degree having, certificate having or not certificate having. We
Mhm.
are going to find more and more that we are pushed into spaces where we're going to have to do for self. We're going to have to self
Right.
fund. We're going to have to self rely. And I'm just grateful that we're also in a time where we have examples like you and so many others that say, you know what, I even in the best of times I couldn't get the funding
Yeah.
and I couldn't get what I needed, and so I was able to press forward and do it anyway. We have just a few minutes left, but talk to us about the products that you carry,
Mhm.
some of the unique spins that you have on some of these products. I'm always interested in how each dispensary, like what their specialty ends up being. So,
Mhm.
and I will say this also when it comes to medical school, our next guest, Dr. Hervé Damas, he did not have a cannabis arrest, but he did have an injury that ended his NFL career, and so he ended up going to medical school. And now all he does is focus on cannabis. So I don't know, sis.
Yeah.
It might be you might could find
It
yourself
might
in a
be serendipitous. That sounds
listen.
good
You
to
might
me.
end up in medical school in a whole other arena. But give
Yeah.
us a sense of the products you carry and what your
Absolutely,
specialties are.
absolutely. I mean, we have an extremely wide range of project products. We have the vape cartridges, we have the edibles, we have flower, both indoor and outdoor, because there is, I feel like benefit to having both, right? That sun grown and then that, very specified, terpene filled indoor flower as well. And so it's like, I believe cannabis is medicine, and this is
Mm,
why I've gone so hard to open up my dispensary no matter what I've gone through.
yeah.
But we have amazing brands, black owned brands like L&J Cannabis, who I'm really, really happy to carry. Our goal is to put as many black and brown brands on our shelves as possible. And I let them know, I'm like, if you have good product, you have space on my shelves. We're not allowing these huge companies to come in
Wow.
and dominate, which is what they've tried to do. They've tried to bully us, but we're
Yeah.
not allowing that to happen. So shout out to L&J Cannabis. Shout out to Ruby Farms, which is a woman-owned brand
Wait,
as
I'm learning
well.
these brands for the first time. Hold on.
Yeah.
L&J Cannabis. Is it just
uh,
flower that L&J Cannabis sells?
they have
Or is it
flour. They have distillate as well. Ruby Farms, the same. They have an amazing flour, amazing
that's a black owned
distillate.
brand too?
Yeah,
Because
it's
we
a
have something in
woman-owned,
February.
woman-owned brand.
Oh, woman
Mhm.
owned. Okay, all right. Oh,
But
okay.
we will be highlighting a lot of our Black-owned brands in the store as well. Like I said, we are reminiscent of that Renaissance era. And so,
Mm.
because I have this location, I'm able to take on as many brands as I want, especially as they're in this developing stage. And I'm a fan of that, truly.
Oh man, and you're self-owned, so can't
Yes.
nobody tell you
Ain't
shit.
nobody
I
telling me
love
a
this.
thing. Ain't nobody
I
telling me a
love
thing.
this. I
Yeah.
love this. So give us some for those of us who, because I still have not dipped my toes into the industry. I swear
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. Is she gonna do it? I don't know. I swear I'm gonna do it, but I ain't did it yet. For those of us who are still sort of toying with the idea,
Hmm.
give us just as a piece, some advice on what to do if we were thinking about taking that next step forward.
Yeah.
I've explained to my children that I host this segment
Hmm.
every week, so they understand why mommy is pro cannabis, but there's some things they don't know. So, I'm waiting until my youngest gets a little bit older. But give us a sense as to, what you wish you had known then that you know now that could have helped you make the decision to delve into this industry in a slightly different way or even a more empowered way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that had I known more information about the endocannabinoid system prior to me graduating from college, I would have made that my interest of study going into medical school,
Mm.
rather than the opposite happening. Me meaning me getting into cannabis as a patient, and then obviously as an entrepreneur. So I think that there is a scientific I think there's a scientific basis for using cannabis, and like most people don't understand why they do. And so I think that if those conversations are had more, people will, do a little bit better. And I would have done a little bit better had I known. But
Wow.
that endocannabinoid system, I mean, for us to believe in a higher power and there to be such an intricate design in our bodies with receptor sites for cannabis, there has to be something that explains that phenomenon. And
Mm.
so we're gonna use the plant until we figure it out. Maybe I'll get enlightened or
Yeah.
something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm still waiting for it, but I do intend to study cannabis on a scientific level, whether it's my PhD or an opportunity to go back to med school later in the future. I think that it's imperative to match that science with entrepreneurship.